Hello and welcome to Rotted Reviews. Now today, I'm coming at you with a Patreon pick. Basically what I did was I contacted everybody in my only tier on Patreon, which is $1 a month tip jar, and I asked them to suggest 2 movies apiece of films that they would like me to watch and make a video review of. Those all got collected into a pool and a random selection was drawn. And today, the winner is selected by Mission Air, which is 1981's Possession. Thank you, Mission Air. I think I should thank you for this one. But regardless, moving on, let's get to the review. Now, this movie is directed by Andrzej Zulawski, and I believe that this is his only English-speaking film made. Also starring Isabelle Adjani playing Anna and a very young Sam Neill playing the character of Mark. Now, Mark is a man who comes home from his clandestine job responsibilities after a long period away, only to find his wife is very distant and shortly after abruptly leaves him. She admits to long-term infidelity, and during the subsequent bouts of depression, coping with loss, bargaining for reconciliation, and lashing out in power struggles, Mark eventually finds that Anna's secrets are only starting to surface. This is a movie that opened to some very poor reviews, and honestly, after having watched it, that doesn't surprise me. However, it has since gained a strong cult following, which also doesn't surprise me. This is not a popcorn movie. This is a difficult film.
All right, well, what's happening to us is just natural.
Not the most terribly disturbing film I've ever seen, but every inch of it is unsettling and uneasy. If I were to try and distill this movie down into just one word, it would have to be kinetic. It is one of the most movement-obsessed films I've ever seen, rarely having any more than one character at a time taking a moment to settle into a scene, and instead opts to have them chew up each scene like a rabid animal.
This is not always like this, Mark. Usually I'm on time.
I'm not interested. I came to tell you that I can't live without you, and I'm ready to understand whatever there is.
All of the acting performances in this movie were over the top, especially Sam Neill playing Mark. And some people could make an argument saying that this was overacting. And the thing of it is, although I wouldn't necessarily agree with that, I also wouldn't have the wherewithal to really argue against it much. I actually enjoyed the acting performances in this one. I thought that it was very raw, and yes, a bit over the top, but also one of the most honest films as far as sometimes we can go over the top, and sometimes we can, pound our fists against the bed and curl up into a ball and, weep openly and so on, and just be completely over the top with ourselves when coping with loss. And it's rare to find a film approach it with such honesty. I do think this goes overboard in some ways, but I still did enjoy them, lavish though they may be.
Don't you understand? She's killing people.
I understand she's killing people, so why do you call me, not the police?
She's sick, Mark. It doesn't mean anything to you. There are dead bodies there.
I don't believe you.
So I'm going to go ahead and throw up all the scores here. As always, 4 different categories, each one worth up to 25 points for a total possible score of 100 points. Overall, I did enjoy this movie. I thought that it actually had some really creative practical effects and body gore horror. Not a whole lot. If you're looking for a big old splatterfest, this isn't the movie for you. But what it did have was very creative and very unsettling. But at the same time, despite my appreciation for this movie and my personal joy in having watched it, I find myself holding back from issuing a blanket recommendation. This is a movie, frantic though it may be, that requires a great deal of patience from its audience. But if you're willing to keep an open mind and a keen eye, I think you too might also appreciate the artful skill behind Possession. Thank you very much for joining me here today. If you like this, please click like and subscribe. Remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.